What's going on, guys? This is Thrill Destination, and today I'm back in a familiar spot from a video from about 2 years ago where I gave my top 10 roller coasters that I've ridden. Now, from the title, it does say top 10 roller coasters in America. I haven't ridden every roller coaster in America, but this is my personal top 10. I've ridden a lot of the good ones. First, I wanted to state an honorable mention really quickly. Iron Rattler would have been number 11. Great ride. The only thing that held it back from a top 10 spot is probably the pacing. In the morning, it can be kind of slow up on the quarry wall, but the elements are top notch. But let's just get into this. Number 10 is an interesting one. This is Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City. Now, this ride is a ride that I got 15 or so rides on in one day when I visited the park. And I came in with high expectations, and it really delivered. I think this ride has one of the best drops on an RMC, the best pacing on any RMC, and some really good airtime when it has those moments and good inversions and a great setting. If it were a little longer and had some more moments of airtime, this is a coaster that's lightning rod level, and could even be top 5. It's just that good, and that's why it makes my top 10, and it's just one of the best RMCs out there. Number 9 is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. So I might have been a little hesitant to say that because I know I might get some hate here and there. Listen, Steel Vengeance is a really good ride. It's long, filled with airtime and inversions. Pretty good pacing. It's not up there with Outlaw Run pacing wise, but it's got pretty good pacing. The thing that holds it back is the variety isn't really there. It's got a lot of repetitive elements. Still some good elements like the outer bank and all that. The whole ride's amazing. That's why it's my number 9. It's just missing something, missing some variety to be higher. But overall, Steel Vengeance is a great coaster and definitely the best roller coaster at Cedar Point and in the state of Ohio. Taking that 8th spot is the Voyage at Holiday World. This is probably my favorite traditional wooden coaster. And what I mean is, like, it feels like a Woody. It's very smooth for being a wooden coaster. It's clearly extremely long, has a ton of airtime, ton of laterals. It's intense. The ejector is not the strongest I've had, but it's pretty good. And it's just one of the most iconic roller coasters to ever touch this planet. And it honestly, it's a lot of people's number ones when they ride it at night at Hollywood nights, but still a great coaster. Number 8, awesome ride. Taking that 7th spot is Skyrush, which is my favorite coaster at Hershey Park, and I predict that it will stay that way, even though Wildcat's Revenge is coming. Should be a really good ride still. There's not much to say about this other than pure insanity. I like the restraints. A lot of people don't. I think they're great. The drop is one of the best ever. There's some of the strongest ejector airtime of all time, and it's sustained, and it's intense. It's kind of short, but this is a ride that could even go up from 7. For now, it's at 7, but with a re-ride this season, which you guys will get vlogs from Hershey Park this year, I could see a ride like Skyrush climbing into that top 5 range. Such a good ride. Number 6 is going to be Fury 325 at Carowinds. This was the first ultra elite coaster that I rode because it was getting all the hype. It was Coaster Studios number 1, Coaster Kids number 1. It was all these big channels number 1. I needed to ride this thing. Let me just say I was not disappointed whatsoever. I was with my number 1. It's smooth, it's fast, the pacing is great, the airtime is really good for a B&M. The elements, the treble clef's awesome, the drop is amazing. This is a complete ride. It's dropped a little bit. I don't think it's the best roller coaster in the world like I once did, but it still contends. It's one of the best steel coasters ever, the best B&M by a wide margin of all time. And this is just one of my personal favorite roller coasters. It's got everything you want, including the restraints. Perfect ride. Number 5 is Lightning Rod at Dollywood. It just brings a smile to my face to even say that name. I love Lightning Rod. Like, I've ridden Lightning Rod a lot. I've never had problems with it. I've been to Dollywood 5 times, 5 separate occasions, and not a single time somehow has it even had problems, which is shocking. So Old Lightning Rod was my number 1. It was the best roller coaster in the world, in my opinion. The pacing is incredible. The airtime is insane. The setting is awesome. It's just got some of the best elements in the world. And that's still true. I think you might notice a slight difference because I did ride the revamped version of Lightning Rod, the iBox track and the slightly slowed launch. Most of the ride is pretty much the same. It just, there's a slight kick missing, but this ride is still better than rides like Fury and Skyrush. That's how good it still is, in my opinion. The airtime is insane. The quad down is just as good as I remember it. This is just one of my favorite coasters ever. But sadly, I won't ever get to ride its prime form. Still a great ride. Number 4 is Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion. This is the world's best giga coaster, in my opinion. So I would have, before I rode I-305, I was skeptical. I didn't think I'd like it better than Fury. I still thought I would love it. I wanted this intensity machine, but I thought Fury would be the best. I rode this thing for the first time, and it was also my number 1 roller coaster at one point. It dethroned, at the time, number 1 was Steel Vengeance. I rode this late 2018 on a day of Halloween Haunt. I just drove up there after school on a Friday, went there all day on a Saturday. I've been there like 2 times since then too. Ridden this thing over 50 times, well over in every row. Still the most intense roller coaster I've ever ridden. The pacing is great. The transitions are incredible. I just think this ride is like a masterpiece. I think if these next 3 weren't so good, it's weird to say this thing isn't top 3, but it's so close. It's just a great ride. I-305 is a must do. Coming in at number 3 is the best wooden coaster of all time. This is not an unpopular opinion either. Is El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. I went here for 2 days back in 2019. Got approximately 30 or so rides on El Toro. Probably 20, 25 of them came on the first day because it was dead. I miss this thing so much. The drop is still my number 1 drop on any roller coaster ever. The first 2 Camelback airtime hills are just some of the strongest airtime of all time. The ejector is crazy. It's sustained. You're just flying. You're just flying out of your seat on those. They're so good. And then the Rolling Thunder Hill is incredible. Same with the transitions at the end. The positive Gs are good. This is an outstanding roller coaster. I think if the middle section wasn't somewhat weak, this might be my number 1. This is just the best wooden coaster in the world, and that's what I've thought since I rode it, and I want to get back on it here soon, which I think I will. Number 2 is Velosa Coaster at Universal's Islands of Adventure, which this channel was started like early 2020, and I went there in 2021, so I'm kind of surprised I didn't vlog there. I can't remember the reason why, but there was definitely a reason. Everything else that I didn't vlog was pre-channel, so that's why I wanted to tell you guys that. I had an old channel. I miss it. Don't want to talk about it. But number 2 is Velocicoaster. The reason is I think this thing might have the most variety. It just has everything. I can't tell you a certain like good part of a roller coaster in general that this doesn't have. It's got airtime, the laterals, intensity, launches, the best inversion I've done, and that specifically is the second half. The first half is good, but I was like, I'm like, this is good, but like I need some more kick. You get the second half. It was my number 1 again, and it stood that way, and you'll see why it's not my number 1 anymore. But that thing is incredible. I love that place, and I love this ride in general. Best steel coaster, best traditional steel coaster. Taking the number 1 spot is Iron Quasi at Busch Gardens, Tampa. This is not an unpopular number 1 by any means. A lot of people have this as their number 1, and that's for good reason. This thing, I was wondering if it would live up to the hype. I went there soon after it opened, and it was getting a ton of hype. This is just the best RMC that I've been on, the best roller coaster I've been on. The airtime is extremely powerful. It is so intense. It's almost like if Intimidator 305 were an RMC. And the elements are amazing too. Like the outward banked hill over the station is nuts. The drop is great. like I said, the pacing, and you hit the brake run going so fast. Like, you stop and it just jolts you because you're going so fast. The pacing's that good. This is just overall my #1 coaster, and I don't know what else could really beat it in the world. There's definitely some things that could be contenders, but for right now, the best roller coaster in the world to me is Iron Quasi at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Thank you guys for watching. That's going to do it for my top 10 roller coasters in America. Stay tuned for more lists similar to this, like top 10 parks, top B&Ms, top inverts, all types of different top lists of anything to do with theme parks in general. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys for watching. Comment below your thoughts on this list, and I'll see you next time.